Okay, I've been learning a lot about this, basically the Scythian bloodline. So yeah, they became the Thracians. They're the sons of Ares, or the sons of Aryan. You know, Ares and Aryan kind of sound like the same thing. So the sons of Ares, they were basically Scythian, bow, like basically warriors, pretty much from Ukraine. The grasslands, Central Asia, Europe. I mean, East Europe, Central Asia. They became the Thracians of Greece. The Thracians were like the warlike Greeks. They weren't really dark-headed Greeks. They were like the Thracians were Aryans. They were Germanic, like blonde-haired, blue-eyed, red-haired. So yeah, a lot of the Greeks were actually were not dark-haired or olive-skinned Mediterraneans. I mean, even though some of the Thracians probably got dark skin just because of the geographic location, but themselves, Thracians were not Mediterranean people. They were Aryan people. Like I said, the Scythians are the other serpent seed bloodline. And I also think that the Scythians and the Huns are the same people. Or the Scythians could have became the Huns later on, but the Huns, maybe they came from the Scythians. The Scythians are for sure the other serpent seed bloodline. They became the Tartarians later on. The Aryans became the Tartarians. The Aryans are the Scythians, or the Thracians. And it makes sense that these are the descendants of Marduk, or Nimrod. Mars, Ares. Marduk, the son of Utu. The calf of Utu, who is Marduk. Or the god of war is Mars. Or the devil himself. So yeah, these are the Thracians, the sons of Ares. They took part in the Trojan War. Then I was reading something that the Trojans were from the bloodline of the tribe of Dan, or something like that. The tribe of Dan became the Trojans, but the Thracians were not from the tribe of Dan. They were the Aryans, or the Scythians, or maybe the Huns. But the Huns themselves were not, they were a different culture later on from the Scythians. But the Scythians became the Thracians. And I think the original Scythians came from an older culture. Aryans came from an older culture or civilization called the Hyperboreans. Hyperboreans come from northern Siberia, East northern Eurasia. So this is where the Aryans come from, is the Hyperboreans. But like I said, I think they came from Nimrod first. They came from the giant Nimrod, the Nephilim. But it said that they came from Hyperborea, and then they became the Scythians, and then became the Tartarians. But the Scythians became the Thracians. Also, it said the Scythians became the Etruscans. So they became the original Italian tribes were Scythian tribes, and they also became the Thracians and probably the Macedonians too, because the Macedonians were also blue-eyed and red-haired. Like I said, a lot of the Italians aren't all the Italians look Germanic. If you actually look at them, it's because they got the Scythian bloodlines in them. Just like the Germans got Scythian bloodlines. But they're also mixed with the Phoenicians, like darker people from North Africa. So they look mixed. Same thing with Greece. You got a mixture of the Scythians, and then you got the Middle Easterners coming from the south, and also the Egyptians. The Phoenicians and the Egyptians. So that's why Greece and Turkey and Italy are very mixed today because of all the migrations and intermarriage, interracial mixing. But it said the Trojans were from the tribe of Dan. And these are the people the Thracians fought. So that means the tribe of Dan must be the enemy of the Thracians. No, actually. All right, let me change it. No, I didn't say it. It said the Thracians were the allies of the Trojans. So I don't know. Maybe I got to do more research on it. I think it said they were the allies of the Trojans. There's just so many different offshoots and names to keep up with. And no one seems to care about this that much, to talk about it. And there's not many videos on it trying to connect it to the Tower of Babel to Nimrod. There's not many videos, connecting the bloodline to Nimrod himself, which I believe this is where that bloodline came from, with Nimrod. They were Nephilim. They were giants. So. And another thing I want to clarify is that not all Europeans came from the Scythians. There were other European tribes that were already had migrated after the Tower of Babel to Europe that were not from Aryan bloodline. They were not from the Scythian, Hyperborean bloodline that I believe came from Nimrod. So not all white people came from the east. There was already people, Caucasians in the west too. But I believe it's the evil Aryan Nephilim that mixed in with the other Caucasian people, tribes in Europe. So that's my new theory. And like I said, I don't think the original Turks were not Mongoloids, and neither were the original Turks, neither were they Middle Eastern, looking like the Iranians. But they were Germanic looking. The original Turks were these, red-haired, blonde-haired people who became the Tartarians. So the original Turks themselves are actually the Aryans. Or the Scythians. The original Nazis are the Scythians. These are the same people that invaded India. See, there's not a lot of videos in the English language trying to make sense of this because no one cares enough to really know the secrets. Everyone that's talking about Tartaria is not talking about how the Tartarians are the Nephilim bloodline. And it's not talking about how the Tartarians they came from a more ancient civilization. They're just talking about the buildings. They're not connecting the dots. But yeah, the Tartarians that came from the Scythians, and then they came from the Hyperboreans earlier, I think. The Tartarians were the empire of the Nephilim, and they were the enemy of these other. The reason why the Tartarians were the enemy of these other empires and countries and from Europe is because, and also the Russians too. Because the Tartarians were too powerful. They were giants. They were Nephilim. They were too strong. The Chinese feared the Tartarian, the Huns. They feared them. Because they invaded China too. The Tartarians were the strongest race that ever existed on the earth. They were the Nephilim, the descendants of Nimrod himself. Sons of the devil. The sons of Aries. So these Tartarians were feared by the entire world. Somehow, their whole entire empire just became became just a question mark. And the communist Soviets did a lot to try to cover up the great Tartarian Aryan civilization. Because they came from the Canaanites. That's why. And even though the Tartarians came from the Nephilim, and also the Canaanites came from the Nephilim bloodline, I still think that there was division and fighting between different Nephilim sects and different bloodlines for control of the world.